has time to be here. I know people are going to be coming in late, but that's on them. Mad's got a very tight schedule involving drinking, so let's get him started.
I've already started.
Oh,
No.
okay. Well, that's cool. It hasn't kicked in yet. So, hey, Tron, are we recording right now? Oh, you can't answer me because you're silenced. Yes. Why is he?
Just shake your head.
Why is the mute man not responding? Yes. Okay.
Tron is too, so we're good.
Okay, cool. I apologize for the echoey house. I have not completely moved in everything. There is some furniture that is catching the reverb, but I will try to make it less mechanical. Thanks, Matt, for the feedback. And Missy, thank you. This is her first time actually joining an AMA. She will be assisting in the AMA questions. I think Missy's going to actually direct message me those because I'm going to be reading a list of questions I have for Matt, and we'll go here. But if we are recorded, then I am ready to go. So...
Hi, Missy.
And thanks for hopping in, Missy. So she'll just be kind of hopping in with the questions, and she may be able to answer a few things here and there. But Matt, first of all, you started drinking ahead of time. What are you working on right now?
I kind of bought a 120 Cabernet Sauvignon, which
fancy.
is at half off at Publix. So $6 for a whole bottle of red wine. It's not bad.
Nice. So
I always push my cart into the building, and the first thing that they have is that half-price wine. So fill up my cart and take it home and enjoy myself.
Oh yeah, you get the you can get the whole crate or the whole not six pack. What are those things? Yeah, 12 pack for a wine
it's a
for
little
like
4-pack that they at the Publix that you put the little bags in, which is nice.
It's classy. I've actually never been at Publix, so I heard their chicken is like the best thing ever. So.
Oh, absolutely. The only place to get fried chicken down here.
Yeah. So, if you don't mind my asking, that you're down here, are you in Florida, or you're southern based? I'm guessing at least, right? Because that's where Publix is
in
at.
West Palm Beach, Florida.
You're in Florida. How's everything with the hurricane? Is it past or is it still?
For us, it was just 60, 70 mile per hour winds, about 5 inches of rain. So basically a Tuesday. So
Nice.
it was not even an issue for us. Hurricanes, as big as they are and as scary as they look, really it's only the eye of the hurricane that's the issue.
Well, on behalf of Ian's, I apologize for the hurricane. But
thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
The fun part is my wife's name comes up in 2 more hurricanes, so I'm really hoping that's a disaster, so I can make fun of her.
Oh yeah, that's. I'm sure that'll go really well. Well, so I guess so. You're saying you're going to be single pretty soon.
Many opportunities.
So that's the wine. You'll be stocking up on much more. Tron's already asking. Do you like wine moms asking the real questions from Tron?
Actually, my wife is a beer drinker. She does not like wine, and my doctor said no more beer for you. You can drink whiskey, you can drink vodka, or you can drink red wine. So my doctor actually told me drink whiskey. I love it.
That's a good.
That's a good doctor.
Is this like a back alley doctor, like cheapest doctor in town?
He's from Cuba, so that helped.
There you go. He's like, have a cigar and the wine. Yeah. This is considered, pediatrics, by the way. So, which is weird that you're seeing a pediatrician. I don't. Okay. Anyways, so
Highlights magazine. I still haven't found Goofus and what is it?
Or Gallant, or you're working with the Timber Toads. You know what? I haven't seen a lot of memes of that, and this is kind of a good segue. I haven't seen any highlights memes. I haven't seen Goofus and Gallant. I haven't seen Timber Toads. I haven't seen I used to get highlights. What that is? I see a few. We have memers here in our audience too. I see Strider. I see William Wacom, Hugh White Memes, and Tron is our own in-house memer. And anyone else who is going to be listening, perhaps will be joining us. I did see a few other people pop in. I don't know if they know where to go. Missy, or maybe one of the other mods who's kind of listening in. There's Maga Thing. If you want to redirect them down here, because those who are new may not know where we're at right now, just perhaps point them in the right direction. That'd be helpful. But thanks everyone for joining. So Matt, I just want to kind of start going into some questions right now.
Sure.
First of all, my guess is it's the playoff of the puns, since you're mentioning in the books from when I was a kid. Since you're talking about highlights, like God, I'm dated now, but Mad Liberals. I'm thinking it has to do with Mad Libs. But is there like a deeper significance to that, or like why went Mad Liberals as your username?
I'm not a very deep person. You're absolutely correct. By the way, let's back up on the Goofus and Gantry. Gallant.
No, Goofus and Gallant.
Goofus and Gallant. I mean, it's Biden and Trump right there. I mean, I can see William already pulling down videos for that of Goofus and Gantry. Perfect for them. Anyway. Yeah. So go for it, William. Yeah, sorry, the ones.
The boomers will love it. They'll get it. So
they didn't like my Petticoat Junction very well. So I mean, there is a timeline difference, but eventually keep it in the 70s. I think you're okay.
Actually, that's kind of a good segue. And so I don't know who your top audiences are. I don't know if you track who's like follows you, if there's an age or group or whatever. But what do you think made you get so big? Like, because you said Petticoat wasn't popular, and a few people were throwing some memes up in the channel earlier today, and you're like, "Oh, I forgot I did that one." And like, that's kind of fun. I mean, I love it because of the wine, or if you just do so many, you just lose track of what you do.
Yeah, I'm up to around 300 total. About 150 of them I published. And really. What makes it fun is the puzzle, trying to figure out how that you can put this person in this scene and remove this microphone and put all this together and layer after layer after layer until it all looks great. And so that's really all it is. It's a puzzle for me. And every time I try to get better every single time. So, and kind of make it a rule. Every time I make a new meme, make it harder, bring it up another level. And of course, we have our own meme community, and not to brag, but I like to try to be the best. And so therefore, always try to one up everyone. I know it's a terrible, terrible thing to say, but it's almost a competition of who can make the best memes and who can get the attention of the big guy and all that stuff. There
should be some meme awards. I'm surprised that there isn't anything like that.
We've tried a few times. Benny Johnson does have meme Oscars, and Carpe just went to AmpFest and did a meme awards, and but it's not official. It's not it's not perfect. It's not it's kind of biased. We all win, for example. Even Thug Life won once, which proves that it was fixed. So it's not really. You love this to become more mainstream. You would love to see, be on TV, or I've had talks with people to actually do a Saturday Night Live type of TV show, and with Liberal Larry and the Hodge twins, and they had a 30-minute show to try to compete with SNL, and the segues were going to be memes.
That's cool.
It was so bad.
It sounds awful.
It was terrible.
Hey, don't give up your day job.
It's like a Star Wars Christmas special quality. That didn't go very well at all.
Well, actually, kind of funny. You're mentioning a few things, like you're saying about like Star Wars. You're saying about a few other people who you compete with. Are there any influential memers or memes or media themes that you brought up? A few things in your work that do you just pull from everything, or do you tend to go for a certain theme or source? Because some people have that as like their MO.
Yeah. Of course, we're one big family at this point. We all love each other. We all get together. We all help each other. We collaborate so much. So is there an influence? Well, everyone is. Everyone influences me. Every time that they put something out, I slap my head and says, "Damn it, I should have thought of that." C3P meme is just blowing us away at the moment. He's doing this new Sanford and Son. Oh my God, what a great concept. So, and we all look at each other and we all help, and so there's no one particular influence by any means, but there's definitely some videos in my early years that really changed my whole focus. There's one where Trump is jumping on the trampoline, as a dog. And that was the first time I ever said, "Oh my God, I can put videos inside of videos." And before then, I was just kind of putting CNN on someone's head, and just like moving around, which is just absolute crap. But Joe, I think his name was Joe Videos or something like that, and he really changed my whole opinion of what can be done with it.
That's cool. Well, sometimes the meme there is some times where the meme is so crappy that it's actually awesome, or like I don't know if it's intentionally crappy or just so bad that it's kind of amazing. And there's kind of, I don't know, because sometimes you don't want to try too hard because then it kind of feels packaged and corporate.
Right.
And this is kind of, I don't want to get too much ahead of ourselves here, but I mean, I guess kind of actually on that note, because I imagine that takes a ton of. I imagine it takes like a ton of time to do these. Maybe you've learned to do this much quicker and you can just knock these out really fast. But, I mean, do you do this for a full-time living, or is this like a thing you do on the side in addition to your job, or how does it work with your schedule? Because I imagine it's a lot of time you're putting into this.
It is tremendous, and if you actually go back to like Peshawar Warrior, which was the first time I had a big giant one, I spent 2 months going through old videos of Trump and going through every single scene of him talking. And for some reason, he always has this giant freaking microphone in front of his damn mouth. And so I went through, I believe, over 400 videos. There's a resourcing file of his videos. And looking for any time that freaking microphone is not in front of him. And so I finally found one scene out of this one video where he's standing to the side, but he's laughing, he's talking, he's looking at this old veteran talking. And once I got that, I captured the video and finally downloaded it. And then I spent another 6 weeks taking each and every frame of that video and cutting him out one piece at a time, one frame at a time, to get rid of all the background and just have his face. It was such a fantastic piece. Then it took me a couple more weeks to stick it into Peshawar Warrior. And the beauty is I took that video and I put it on that first scene and I tracked it. And that very first scene where he's coming out and he's dancing, all that, was no edits. That was a complete accident that it matched up that beautiful. And but the whole project took almost 4.5 months to finish. But now the tools are just amazing. All this AI tools, After Effects, all these neat little tools. Doing that rotoscope that took me just months, and I have over 500 videos of roto clips that I share with everyone. Those videos now take less than a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, all you do is you kind of put a green circle around the face you want, and you hit play, and 1 minute later you have this beautifully extracted video that's 20 times better than I could ever make.
Yeah, it's crazy. A lot of there's like AI that's starting to compete with it now, and it's kind of like outsourced. I don't know if it's the same, if it's going to go the same way as like CGI with people with what's the word? What's that thing that people don't use anymore? Traditional cell animation, right? It's kind of it's kind of the same way. So, but that took you 4 months. It sounds like just to put that together.
Right.
Just that one.
Right.
I mean, I guess let me ask you this then. So on that note, do you? I don't know if it's for if you do it for that reason, but do you make any money from these memes, like sharing it, royalties, YouTube, whatever, anything like that? Or
zero. I make absolutely not a single cent. And you ask me when do I do this, and the answer is from 6 o'clock to midnight. My wife, would work nights, and I'd be at home, sitting in front of my computer from a full day of work, and at 6 o'clock I would turn my chair completely around 360 and I'm back in my computer again, and like, what else am I going to do? And that's when I make memes. Now I don't make any money. I don't. Every Facebook, Instagram, everyone demonetized me as soon as I started putting videos up. I didn't want to do Patreon or anything. So made absolutely no money ever since it started.
Right.
We did get some money in, but every bit that I got in, I shared it with all the other memers and just kind of distributed it around.
So you shared zero, is what you're saying, right?
Right. Right.
Okay, just it sounds like. Well, I mean,
so
actually,
we got a decent amount of money from a couple of we had a couple of groups that sent us some money, but everyone else got the money.
Okay.
We bought laptops for a couple of the memers and stuff like that.
That's cool. So, I mean, did you go into it for the money, or what? I mean, like, was it more just because of the puzzle or for fun? Like, what? I mean, because you said you were bored, so I would imagine if you were working all day and it's another 6 hours, like, did you ever say, like, what the hell am I doing? Like, this is stupid. I'm going to quit. Like,
I do that all the time.
Saying?
Yeah, I do that on a daily basis.
Okay.
Well, it's Alex Jones, actually. It was right after Han Solo did his infamous CNN versus Trump wrestling meme. And he got doxxed, and CNN went after him and forced him to recant and all this. Then Alex Jones turned around and says, "Hey, $10,000 for the best Trump CNN meme." And I was like, "Damn, that meme is stupid. I could do that, at $10,000. So why not?" So I started, making these videos as just to go after that $10,000. And the fifth one I made for that contest was Monty Python and the Holy Trump. And it's a cute little animation of from the movie, and it took me a good, I think, 4 weeks to do every single scene and every single one cell at a time because it's animated, and animating ones are the worst because everyone's a 2-cell click, so you have to literally go through every single cell. And it was all on the Reddit, and they had to Ask Me Anything with Alex Jones. And he was there, and they actually played it for him during the AMA, and you could hear Alex laughing. He was excited. He said, "Oh man, that's my best thing. Oh, I don't remember doing that," and all this stuff. And that just hooked me. I was like, "Oh my god, that rush, that dopamine rush when you get that video out, and the person that you actually put in the video gets to see it. That dopamine rush is what got me addicted."
That's awesome. That kind of sounds like people who do stand-up. They say it's like a lot of struggle, and you make almost no money for the few who make it, but they just do it because they love the fact that they can, make people laugh and things like that.
And that's it. You want to make people laugh. You don't do it for the money. You just do it for the love of doing it.
Do you mind if I ask then? If this is too personal, we can go to another question. But do you mind sharing what you do for work when you're not memeing? Because obviously, you're not. This is at least 6 hours a day. It took you 4 months just to make one. Obviously, you've gotten more efficient. But do you mind if I ask what you do for your full-time job? And if not, I can go to something else.
No, absolutely. Actually, I'm in fingerprint identification. I've been doing it for about 35 years. I write software that whenever you get your license, you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, or something, they do a license. I take your fingerprints. That goes to me. I send it to the FBI. FBI sends it back to me, and I send it back to you. So I'm the conduit for your fingerprints to get background checks.
Ooh, okay. So I didn't know you were related to the feds. Oh, that changes everything.
No. I don't work for them.
Yeah. No, but I've. That's crazy, man. So wow. So you definitely have a lot of tech and security background. And actually, I kind of want to get into that a little bit later, but I kind of want to finish some meme questions here. But so you obviously have a bit of technical proficiency, which separates you from the average person.
Image processing, security, communications, and tremendous amount of programming.
Nice. I think it's funny. I'm taking notes on this for my own personal thing, and Microsoft Word is giving me how to spell check and asshole solo, and it's giving me the ABC with the thing how to correct that. I'm trying to fix it, and it's I'm trying to do through my notes here. Let me ask you this. So, you mentioned that was one of the things you got with Alex Jones, right? And you've also said it's just the amount of time involved, and so you kind of go back and forth on is this worth it or not. I mean, how do I put this? Does being a memer affect your online life regarding, whether it's, or offline life, excuse me, rather, I guess you're online too, but regarding customers and your day job, if people know who you are, or has it opened doors in terms of connections, money, I don't know, hot chicks, free wine, stuff like that? What has, good and bad, what's come out of it?
I still buy my wine $6 a bottle. No hot chicks. Been married 8 years, so that doesn't count. But when I had my big Twitter account, I did get a lot of people contact me. I had some musicians that would contact me, famous people, just encouraging me to go on. I had a lot of White House officials saying, "I can't talk publicly about this, but keep doing what you're doing. We love it." So the encouragement was fantastic. And every once in a while, I get this White House official saying, "Hey, make this video of Biden doing this," which was just a thrill. But outside, I'm sitting at a bar and hey, guess what I do? And they don't care. Not a one's ever seen one of my videos. Every time I go up to someone. So it's oh, by the way, I'm mad at liberals. Hey, buy me a beer. But no, never worked. Not once.
Yeah, because they probably assume that you're doing you're just rolling in it because they don't know where it's like. Actually, I always made me confusing with it. Did you get a chance to visit Trump in the White House when he went? Had all those a couple memers there. I may be confusing if you didn't go, but I thought you were one of the people who were there, or at least invited. You were. Okay.
This was a little story because Trump had put out a tweet. He's saying, "Reserve July 4th. We're gonna have a nice big party. Everyone come." And so I told the meme community, "Hey, who would like to come? I'm going to go to D.C. So who would like to come with me?" And I told all the memers, and not a one of them wanted to go. And it was kind of disappointing. I was like, "Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. We can all meet up and finally see each other." But since we're all, fat, ugly, and we sit behind a computer all day long, most of them don't like to meet each other. So over a while, Carpe finally sent me a text about 3 months later. and said, "Hey, are you still going to DC?" I said, "Well, no one else wanted to go, but I was wanting to." He goes, "Well, fine. I'm going to go. So why don't you meet me up there?" I said, "Okay, sounds fun." He goes, "Yeah, I got a exclusive tour of the Senate. So make sure you dress up, wear a suit and everything, because it's a neat exclusive, tour." So told my wife. My wife's like, "Nah, I don't want to go, just to see your friend." And so got my mom to come with me. And so we fly up to Washington D.C. and we get off the plane, and Carpe texts me, "Hurry, hurry! You got to be at the Senate in less than 20 minutes." I said, "Oh crap!" So we ran to our room, got dressed real quick, took a taxi as fast as we can to the Senate. Finally met Carpe for the first time, and we were Mitch McConnell's office, which was cool. And got to went on that executive tour, and
Did you
it
meet
was
Mitch?
nice. That's the whole reason we went, was for this tour. But it was only like 20 minutes, so I was like, "Oh, okay, well, that was nice. That was fun." He goes, "Well, we also have an executive tour at the White House." Okay. Had no idea, by the way, about Trump at any point in this whole conversation. And I was like, "Okay, well, cool." So we walked all the way over to the White House. They let us into the basement, which I thought was weird. Who has a tour in the basement? And so we get to the basement, and we're sitting there for about an hour and looking around, and we're the only ones there. And I'm like, must be a pretty damn exclusive tour. Only 4 of us can go. So that's pretty cool. And eventually a woman came down and said, "Oh, hey, why don't y'all wait upstairs? Most people wait upstairs." And I was like, "Oh, that's where everyone is. Everyone's upstairs. Okay, that makes more sense." So we go upstairs, and we're sitting there, and Carpe's kids are with him, and they're starting to get a little restless, and they're bouncing off the tables. But we're still the only ones there. I was like, "Man, this must be really freaking exclusive. This is pretty neat." And so a woman came over and started playing with the kids, and she brings them pieces of coloring. She brings them the White House to color, and I'm looking at her like, "How do you color the White House?" And she goes, "Yeah, I know. They tell me that all the time." But so anyway, they're sitting there coloring and all that, and she looks at the kids, and she goes, "Y'all excited to see the Oval Office?" And my mom and I looked at each other and went, "What? Oh my goodness!" And I looked, and I was thinking, "Wow, that's a really cool tour. Most tours don't get to see the Oval Office." I thought, "Oh, that's pretty cool." Still no clue, by the way. And then she looks at the kids again and says, "You ready to go see President Trump?" And I look over at Carpe. He fell out of his chair laughing at me, because he realized at that moment we are walking in to see Trump. And I was walking through the freaking Washington, D.C., 92 degrees with a silk suit, with a suit on, and I have sweat balls all the way. My armpits are sweaty, my shirt's sweaty. It was freaking humid that day, and I'm about to walk in to see the president of the United States. Oh my God. He was just dying laughing, and I'm about ready to pass out, because oh my God. She stands us up, and we walk through that door. The oval door opens up, and we're standing there, and you can see him walking up, and he goes, "Where's the geniuses? I've got to meet the geniuses." And he walks into the room and introduces himself and starts shaking our hands. And I always lie at that point. That's a lie, because he only said genius. He didn't say geniuses. He said genius. So he was talking about Carpe. But I like to include myself in that category. But so he gets us around the White House table and around the desk, and he looks at it and goes, "We pay people lots and lots of money to make videos for us. We go to Madison Avenue, and we pay them over $1 million to make these videos. And I get them." And he reached over and he says, "I get these videos, and then we throw them away, because that's not what we want. It's junk. It's too corporate. But you guys, you make exactly what we want to see, and it's fantastic, and we love you." And so, man, that just made my day. And so we talked to him for a little bit. He pressed the little red button on his desk, which is the Diet Coke button, which is kind of cool. And as we were walking out, we walked to the elevator. One of the Secret Service guys says, hi y'all. And we said hello, and we got on the elevator and took the elevator back down to the basement. And the tour guide that was with us goes, "How come you didn't say hi to him? Or how come you didn't talk to him?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He says, why didn't you talk to that man, at the elevator? And I said, well, I said hi. She goes, that was Mike Pence, right? So poor old Mike Pence thinks that we completely ignored him. So I'm sorry, Mike, if you're listening.
As you should have.
Yeah, well, he was a
yeah.
nice guy back then, but not now. But it was.
No, that's funny though. But so you thought it was Secret Service. That's awesome.
He looks like a Secret Service guy. Every blonde hair. Yeah.
That's funny. So I'm gonna. This is kind of a good segue question. So Funky for Real's asking. So it sounds like your dreams kind of came true. But do you believe in mimetic magic?
Kinetic magic?
Mimetic, meme magic.
Oh, meme magic.
Like
I'm sorry.
Power of tech and all that,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, we have our reach is huge, because even liberals can laugh at the stuff we make. It reaches both sides. It's with humor. We're not fighting. We're trying to make people laugh, and any chance to make people happy in this environment is magic in itself.
That's awesome. Actually, that's kind of funny because you were talking about that, and when you were talking about Trump saying how they pay millions and millions of dollars to Madison Avenue, and how you're saying how they find your stuff fun, which is great. I'm curious if any liberals have reached out to you secretly, be like, hey, please don't publish this, but I find your stuff funny. But how, I have seen, I think I can count maybe like 2 left memes that have ever been somewhat funny. But why can the left just generally not meme? Like why can't the left meme?
Well, I will say that when I made The Wizard of Oz, I put Bron Stelter as the wizard, behind the scenes, yelling, and he actually posted on my video, "I wish I could like this more," and gave me a big thumbs up. So yeah, he actually had a sense of humor apparently. But why can't the left meme? It's actually an easy answer. Who do you laugh with? Who makes you happy? Who tells the best jokes? And it's your friends and it's your family. We're having fun, we're talking, but you laugh the most when you're with your family and the people you love. So we're coming from a place of love. We're coming from a place of friendship, family. We're doing this to make each other happy, right? But they're coming from a place of hate. They're mad. They're angry. And that anger comes through on their memes, and therefore it's not funny. They're not coming from a place of love. They come from that anger place. And oh my God, quit putting so many freaking words in your memes. That just
the wall of text of memes. Yeah.
Oh my God. But yeah, they're just not happy people. So have you ever seen a not happy comedian that you laughed at? Of course not. It's just they're not happy.
The crying clowns are funny though. I mean, I guess that makes sense because right. I mean, isn't Gutfeld like the #1 talk show host right now? I mean,
absolutely.
On Fox. I mean, that's
and
really
you can see
crazy
that they're having fun. They have a family atmosphere. They know each other. They like each other, and they're having fun. Whereas so many liberals, they get together and they have an agenda and they have to push this project and this is racist and they're coming from that hatred level, and and that shines through so strongly.
Yeah, I think that's really key in comedy. And I mean, from just on a personal note, I was kind of looking at, wow, why do movies suck so bad for the most part? Now and then you find a good one that pops up. And I think 2014 is the year stuff really started getting kind of woke, because that's when there was some kind of humor in there. But then afterwards, it's like dead. And that's when it just like, yeah, I just noticed like, man, the right is a lot more funny than the left. And, the left used to be actually really funny. So I think that's kind of a good question I have for people who maybe are in the audience who aren't already memers, or perhaps memers who want to get better here or whatever. But do you have any recommendations for people who are trying to get into it, or any advice on what they should do or not do maybe?
I actually have what I call the meme rules, and everyone that's in my group knows these rules by heart by now. And the #1 rule is minimal. It's called MEME, minimal effort, maximum effect. The more time you spend on a meme, the less effective it is. In other words, it's if you overdo it, it's just not funny anymore. So sometimes just simple little things, little tweaks to an image is all you really need, to be honest. And so every time someone violates a meme, I let them know by showing them a meme roll, and I make these shit up. Whenever I feel like it, whenever I'm drunk, I actually add a few extras. But but the idea is that it's just keep doing them. Just start making memes. Try different types. You'll eventually see what hits, what doesn't hit, what people like, what they don't like. But just try not to be mean when you make them. Try to come from a place of happiness, and that helps a lot. So many, when they're making fun of Trump, they're just mean. They put poop on his head. That's not funny. They're just being mean. And so just keep doing it. Make as many as you can. I made memes for a year before anything, before anyone even knew I existed. But just have fun with it. That's the key thing.
Sorry, I'm trying to mute myself and you don't hear me like laughing in the call and be like weird, like who's the breathing weirdo? How dare you try to inhale and live? Do you have any? I mean, we were talking. You were kind of giving me an idea for a book that should be made. I know this kind of sounds weird, and maybe formalizing it makes it, takes the fun out of it. But as you're talking, I'm like, actually, rules for memes. Maybe a book, because no one reads books anymore. But that'd be kind of like, hey, do this idea that's gonna fail. But yeah, I think that'd be good. That'd be kind of a good idea, like to do something like that. It just kind of seems so basic, right? And I mean, that's kind of what I say. A lot of humor too. Like it can't be mean spirited, or even like in a lot of movies and shows that are supposedly comedy are really violent in the humor, and it's like, ooh, that's not funny. It's like that seems awful. And it's one of the things I do notice. Like, yeah, there's just it's a more pleasant vibe, and it's just something I kind of notice. And so I just want to say that's really great that you guys have so much levity and so many different perspectives. You've mentioned C3PO. I think that's the name.
C3P Beam, I think.
C3P Beam. Okay, I'm sorry. I really like his, and I also like who's the former Disney guy?
Politizoid.
Politizoid. Thank you. I saw the image and I couldn't think of. Like, they have, those guys have really unique styles, and I think it's kind of great that you guys influence each other, and that like, no one really has like a theme or like this is mine. I know some groups have tried to like trademark that or watermark it. Actually, I wasn't even gonna think of this question, but do you have people who steal memes, or is that like a thing you care about, or does no one care about that?
Well, we do care. Donald is the notorious asshole who keeps stealing all of our stuff. But we don't mind if someone takes our stuff and posts it or includes it or shares it or posts it or includes it in their TV show or something. Well, that's fantastic. That's what they're for. It's when they blop out your name and they put their name, like they made it. That's when we start getting upset.
Okay, so like, plagiarizing.
When you're just freaking plagiarizing, that ticks us off. You can, if someone says, "Hey, I want to use your meme in my TV show," I'm like, fantastic. Please, that's what it's for. I want it to get out there. One of my favorite things is to find memes in the wild. I'm on Facebook sometime and I actually see my meme posted by someone that has 2 million views. That thrills me. Thank you for posting that again. I appreciate it. It's when they blur your name out and they write their own name on top of it. That's or they crop it out and they know the only reason they cropped it out is to hide your name. That's right. What gets bad.
So I guess this is a little bit funny. Kind of something earlier too, because we talked about the good stuff and like the joy of memes, but this is a question that Funky for Real is going to ask, but I also kind of want to throw my own question in there as well. Funky for Real is asking, what do you think about the military and government trying to weaponize memes? / I also am going to add this part as my part, where you're seeing how like these books are coming about, how like they're a threat or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think that's overblown, or do you think there is some truth to it, even if it's kind of silly seeming? You know what I mean?
Well, the funny thing is, when we were with the Donald, that was where most of us started. We actually created a group called the Meme Warfare Central. Okay, and over time, we actually saw a military post about a group of memes, and that they're recruiting people and they're doing this one, and it was exactly the same name as our group, the Meme Warfare Center. And we had to kind of question all the members there. Are you the military? Because this whole article about our group was written without us even knowing that it existed. So that kind of threw us off really bad. But as far as militarizing, absolutely it's militarizable. You think about how easy it is now Because our tools are so much more powerful than they ever used to be. I can take a picture, a video of Hunter Biden, and I've done this, by the way. Take a video of Hunter Biden, cropped out the background, use voice AI to make Hunter say what I want him to say. I've then taken that voice file, put it in through Reface, their re-voice feature will change his lips to match my words. And when you put it all, and then you can put Hunter in any scene you want to because you just cropped him out. And I was able to take Hunter Biden saying whatever I wanted him to say. It looked flawless, and put him in a movie within 30 minutes. So imagine being able to take a president and President Biden and making him say, we're going to go to war where he launched nuclear weapons at Russia over Ukraine. Please, everyone, evacuate the main cities. And you put that out in 20 minutes and have Russia see that. Russia would instantly, if it's real enough, Russia will instantly shoot back nukes, right? So you could certainly take all this stuff that we're doing, all this technology we're doing, and create some extremely chaotic political environments with it.
Yeah, I could see that. And I mean, I know there was some, what's that dumbass, Adam Kinzinger, where that obviously fake meme of Sam Hyde being like the pilot, like it wasn't even like saturation right, it didn't cut in right, and he thought that was real. And it was like, really? Like, you thought that was real? Like, there's one that I've seen that looked more realistic, but he was like, this is, and he tweeted it, right? And I mean, I'm sure our side does it too, but that to me was, actually is supposedly our side, I suppose. My bad.
Right.
Yes, so, okay. But, yeah, but I mean, I guess I could see that getting out there, and I guess they freak out over it being misinformation. Right. Even though it is kind of a joke. So I guess that's kind of a good segue to what I wanted to kind of move into here. Thank you for sticking with me so long on this. Regarding misinformation. And all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I know. It's a common term we hear now. But since you also do other stuff besides memes, believe it or not, people may not know this about you, but you were very involved in the Georgia Dominion research and ballots, correct?
That's correct.
And how did you get involved in that?
Well, like a lot of other people that's in my field, they saw on Tucker Carlson a video of someone bringing up two ballots, and they were absolutely the same ballots, but they're counted twice. And they showed 100 of these ballots, and they're like, there's 100 that we found so far. There's maybe more, but we don't know. And that was like, wow, that's absolutely amazing that they counted 100 ballots that should have been counted in Georgia. How many more were there? If you have 100 duplicate, how many can there be? And since it was after the election, and frankly, we were kind of sad and bored, and what are we going to do now? So I was kind of looking for a new project. And since I do image processing, I do security. It sounded like fun, to be honest. I know that sounds weird, but examining Georgia ballots is fun to me. I live a boring life. Wine is about it. But anyway,
try to make your life more spicy here. This is the peak. After this, we won't hear from Matt ever again. So enjoy what you can, folks. That's
this is the pinnacle. After that,
it's a swan song.
That's nice, dude. But so I started. I was able to get the ballots that they were talking about that they had searched through, and I had downloaded them all, and I wrote algorithms to read the OCR text faster than as possible before, and actually found 100 more ballots that were in reverse order, and that was exciting. I found 100 more ballots that someone literally took the ballots and they swapped the order of them. They actually, like you have a deck of cards, then you're just going to put each deck of cards in a different order, then you rescanned them. Absolutely intentional that someone did that. There's no other explanation for it. And so I found another 100 ballots that someone intentionally reversed the order so no one would find it. And so I started writing more and more algorithms to try to find more events. And we finally found 5,000 ballots that were double counted in Georgia alone.
In one county or just Georgia?
In Georgia.
Because I know, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't know how closely people here follow the 2020 election. I've kind of learned a lot through you, honestly. Were you part of the group that discovered the 18,000 missing ballots in Fulton, Georgia, or am I mistaken with that? I know you said you found 5,000 double counted. But
that was Voter GA. Voter
Okay.
GA had this group that did that was broken in 3 parts. The first part was asking the counties for the ballots, with the open records requests. So he did a bunch of open records requests, and they had a group of about 20 people that would get the ballots from the different counties and post them online. The second group was the OCR group, whereas you would take the images and you'd process them and try to read the text, read the data off of them. And I was in part of that group. And then you had the analysis group, which would take the results from the OCR and try to analyze it. So I was basically doing the OCR stuff, reading all the ballots and processing the images. But my algorithms were far superior because of the way I was reading the ballots. They had some image issues about it that I was able to exploit. And my OCR was about 100 to 200 times faster than all the traditional techniques. So we're able to actually fly through these ballots and find the duplicates much quicker because I had previously done a bunch of the work. But Voter GA, when they got their ballots, there's 3 times they counted ballots in Georgia, which makes it very unique. They had the first machine count where they just ran the first set of ballots. They hand counted the ballots as a second run, and then they machine counted the ballots again for a third run. So it's a very unique and very great opportunity for us to go in and really examine the differences between these 3 ballot counts. And when they were doing the Fulton County, they noticed that the first run through had like 200,000 ballots. I may be off on the numbers, so don't quote me on the numbers. But like 200,000 ballots the first time. The hand count was like 350,000, and then the second count was like 12,000. So the numbers were just wildly off. I think the first machine count only had absentee, and the second count only had the machine ballots. So that was very obvious to them that they're missing a bunch of ballots in Fulton County. Unfortunately, Fulton County also broke some laws by deleting the ballots that were scanned. So those ballots are now destroyed and we can't find them again. So Fulton County, unfortunately, had a big issue of missing ballots, and we weren't able to run very successful tests against it.
I mean, that's pretty incredible that you discovered that, and it seems like there's a business opportunity. Like you could, hey, I found this way to make it more effective. I mean, I'm sure it's going to take years, but it'll be a good government contract, but also a way to fix it.
Yeah, that's
been
discussed quite a bit, actually. I have a lot of people coming to me and saying my algorithms are unique. I can actually find, ballots that are missing. I can find a lot of analysis, and they want to make it so that a county would come to us and say, "Hey, we have a candidate who's questioning the ballots. Can you do a quick analysis of these ballots and tell us the results and return them?" We just had a case in DeKalb County, Georgia, where a woman by the last name of Spears, she questioned the vote because she came in 3rd place, whereas some of the counties, she had 0 votes in some of these counties, or in the precincts, excuse me. We were able to prove by running through our algorithm that she actually received 6,000 more votes than Dominion told them. And so through that algorithm, we were able to report the numbers to them, and she actually won the election after our analysis.
Wow.
Which gained a lot of information and notoriety, basically.
Well, I'm going to ask the question that's going to get our server nuked, so let's do this. But what's your view on the 2020 general elections in terms of Dominion? Do you believe the machines flipped it or no? Or do you think it was more incompetence, like, loading it up wrong? Because yeah, I mean, I kind of want to get your take on what it is. From what you, obviously, okay, let me rephrase that. Not all of Dominion in 2020, but specifically since you know Georgia, right? Like, I'm not going to ask you to do the other states unless you know that really well. We did one on Antrim County. You can look that up on Look at America. But in terms of Georgia, what's your view on it in terms of the flipping claims and that kind of thing?
I posted an image in AMA that actually showed a vote being flipped. When they voted for Spears, and on the barcode on the first page it said Spears on the thing. But when Dominion read the vote, it was flipped to Orson. So it does show that there is some flaws in the Dominion software that flipped a vote. Now, did it happen during the 2020? I haven't seen a single case that I saw any fraud at all in the Dominion. And the reason I can say that is because we had a very unique count in Georgia where we had those 3 counts. We had a machine count 1 versus machine count 2. Part of my software, I create a signature of the ballot. It's something that's relatively unique per ballot. It involves who you voted for, where you voted, what kind of ballot it was, etc. And it makes this unique signature. And I was able to compare all the ballots of the first vote versus all of the ballots of the second vote. And in most counties, except for Fulton, it matched up pretty darn exactly. So anything that was a virus that was changing 10% of the votes from Biden to Trump would not have done it exactly the same on both counts. Also, we had a complete hand count also in Georgia that matched both of the machine counts. So it makes it very, very difficult to come up with an absolute proof that there was any cheating involved as far as the ballots downwards. Now, was there cheating on the ballots that went into the boxes? That's a different story that I can't answer. But the ballots that I investigated, there's absolutely nothing I saw that I would say fraud to. I'm still looking.
Interesting. That's really interesting. I mean, well, I don't know if you've talked to people about that and what their reactions are, but I know you've gotten some flack for people like that, or maybe you're not as open about it. But I know there's some groups that have claimed in Georgia similarly that, and they published this in the Gateway Pundit and a few other places, but they're saying things like, well, these ballots were counted so quickly, there's no way it could humanly or be done because it does this per second and therefore this and whatever. That's I mean, I don't know how many people here know IT, but that's multi-threading, right? I mean, like, you got cores where you can do 4 or 8 at a time, counts,
right.
And that's really what that is, and that was never accounted for, right? So things like that gets out there. But I mean, is that basically what that is? Like, stuff that's being claimed is just kind of sloppy investigation, or just not checked, or is that what you find most of these claims are coming about that? Or
specifically, the claim is that 7 ballots had a scan time that were exactly the same down to the second. And since a ballot is read only it takes half a second to read a ballot, it's impossible for 7 ballots to be exactly the same time of scanning, which seemed like a bad thing. I definitely investigated for over 2 weeks to figure out what was going on. The first problem is it says scan time on the ballot, but it's not scan time. And that's the hardest thing to get people to understand. It's save time. Okay, so the time that the ballots are scanned does not, even though it says scan time on the actual ballot when it's scanned in, it's not the correct label. That's not actually what it is. It is the time that the ballot was read, it was processed, the audit mark was created, and it was written. So it's the right time. So with that paradigm shift, and the way we're able to prove that is we have video of people scanning in ballots, and they have the little timer on the top of the screen. And when we compare, you can actually watch them putting in the ballots, and I can watch the time of the ballots. The time of the ballots was over 1.5 minutes later and up to 5 minutes later than the scanning time. And what's happening is they're pumping these ballots as fast as they can through the machines. So it's just chunk, 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 so they can put in as many as they can. But it does take a decent amount of time to actually look at the image and figure out the circles and which circle was this, and it's front page and back page, and then it has to figure out who they voted for and create audits and create security and then create a key and then save it. So when Dominion wrote their software, they called it scan time, thinking, it's a few seconds, maybe a minute difference, but it's close enough to them. But when people actually started analyzing it, they took the word scan time literally as the time it was scanned, which it's not, unfortunately. I think we've proven that several times now. So what happened was, when I started looking at all the other counties to see how things were going, for the big counties, it would take about half a second to scan in a ballot because they had pretty decent looking machines. When I went to smaller counties, under 300,000 people and smaller, the scan times went up. They went up to like 0.8 seconds, 0.9 seconds. And a very obvious reason is they were using shittier computers to do the scanning. So there's some counties that were using maybe an old laptop that they found in the back, because they only do this once every 4 years or once every 2 years. So these computers they're using are relatively old in some of these smaller counties. And what I noticed was in these older counties that are using old laptops, that this phenomena of seeing ballots scanned at the same time was happening over and over and over again quite frequently. And it was always 4 ballots. So you would see ballots being scanned, then you see a pause of like 5, 6, even 12 seconds, and then 4 ballots all at the same time. And then ballot, a pause, then 4 ballots all at the same time, over and over and over again. Over 400 times this happened. When you look at the average time from the beginning to the end, it was all matching up to the 0.7, 0.8 seconds. But every time it did this 4 at a time, it always before a pause. And I realized that they have their hard drive was full. Okay, the disk was buffering. So as it was trying to write these images, the hard drive was buffering. It was having to wait for the hard drive to buffer. Once the hard drive caught up, then those 4 files got written. And that is the reason I realized this is not scan time, it's file write time, because all 4 of these ballots are waiting to write. It couldn't write, and then it was able to write. Now, back to what you said, the multitasking, right? So you said these computers are multitasking. You're absolutely right. These old laptops were using 4 threads to do 4 images simultaneously, and that's why you always see them in groups of 4. As all 4 of these were written at the same time, because the images were done in the thread, but it wasn't able to write to the file. And so when the file system caught up to it, boom, you had 4, boom, you had 4, boom, you had 4, and it happened over and over and over again. So now bring that back to Fulton, whereas they had a better computer system. They didn't have 4 threads, they had 8 threads, right? So you're not seeing 4 at the same time, you're seeing 7 or 8 at the same time. And that made it pretty darn clear that it was just a buffering issue. It only happened once, by the way. All the others were 3s, and you'd see it sometimes 3 ballots at the same time, but you never really saw 7. But it happened just once. And unfortunately, just that one time, boy, that became big news. Everyone's yelling fraud, and it's like, it's just a one-time occurrence, and there's a 13-second delay before those 7 ballots happen. So you'd see ballot all coming in at regular times, 13-second pause, and then boom, 7 ballots all at once. So
that's a really clear explanation. Yeah, actually, you made it even clear. You made it clearer than I thought last time hearing it. I feel like you always should be testifying, kind of like, look, this is what it is. Let me settle this out.
I thought it was pretty darn clear.
I thought that was pretty clear too, and I appreciate it. I don't know if everyone everyone here follows IT. You're talking about multi-threading and cores, and like the buffering times and the write times. RITW. God, I can't spell. Not right. Okay, I haven't had any wine. It's WRITE.
I'm already done with this bottle now.
RIGHT. Really? Oh,
yeah.
What was your it should be 2 for 1 because you got half price. What the hell, man?
Well, I only get half as drunk when you buy half price wine.
Well, that's why you buy 2 of them. It's
exactly.
It's like when you get diet food, you get to eat twice as much. So, wait a second. So, I think first of all, I'd actually really be hearing you testify. I think would be a very fair analysis on it. But let me ask you this: people who are peddling that narrative, I don't know if it's intentional and they know it's wrong and they go with it anyways, or they just don't know what they're talking about, and that still really is not a good thing. But either reactions from them or from just the average person who doesn't know any better and follows anywhere near close, what's the reaction been? I have a feeling I know what it is, but what do they usually respond to when you say that?
Typically, when I present my evidence, and I do try to, I actually show them the times, I show them the beginning times, show them the end times, show them the average times, and when you look at the average times, it's still the same, and it's not that it was 7 Biden votes, it was 4 Trump, 3 Biden. It wasn't even one way or the other. So when you actually get down to the data, it's pretty clear. It just looks like it was a buffering issue, and that's all. But a lot of these groups, and I'm not going to disparage any group. They're all trying, right? They're all trying to do different. But a lot of these, they get donations, and so therefore, sometimes it's great to put out these news articles. That, wow, look what we found, and they get donations, which funds more investigation. So, just like any politician, half their job is making money. Not voting for stuff or making laws, but fundraising. And all these groups that are doing investigations, it's not free to do all this investigation. For example, Voter GA doing these record requests, they have to pay a lot of times out of their own pocket to get the counties to give them the images. And in some cases, it's $3,000-$4,000. So it's not free for them to get all this data. So it's good. They have to make some money.
No, that makes sense. That's actually a very charitable answer. And I spoke with Garland Favorito myself, so he seems genuine. I didn't get that vibe from him, or there's some groups where I don't get that vibe from. And like I said, it's one thing to be misinformed or just not get it, but hopefully be educated and get better at it. It's embarrassing and it sucks. I've made mistakes too. And then I know some people want to research, but that's the nature of the beast. Since you're talking about all this stuff, but you also have found, so let's flip out of 2020 for a second, and not flip intended, but you're saying flipped. I don't know if it was more of a program, like it's correct, but it was like programmed wrong, so it was doing it right, but the programming is the issue, or is it an actual quote flip? Because it sounds like there's a vulnerability, and you said you found a few. I think you've posted a few, and we've shared some on our Electric Integrity channel. I don't know if you're allowed to, but I think you could. Do you have any vulnerabilities that you have found in Dominion software, and what you would do to close those? And what was it like finding those vulnerabilities? I think you were the only one who'd found them.
Yeah. Oh God, that was fun. And matter of fact, I just posted the series of 6 videos in the AMA questions for you. It's freaking exciting, to be honest. Whenever anyone, security 101. For security 101, when someone types enrolls into your system, you never store the password. Okay, what you do is you create a hash of the password, and a hash is a one-way direction that you're going to take a password and you're going to hash it, and you're going to get a result out of it. So, for example, if I was to type "I love Justin Bieber" as my password, it would hash to 178532. All right. But you can't take 178532 and go back to "I love Justin Bieber." It's only a one-way direction. Yeah, thank you, Trot. Hash plus salt. Absolutely. And everyone that's in security knows that you never, ever store the freaking passwords in your database. You always hash it. And there's no system I've ever seen, in the last 20 years that don't do that. Dominion doesn't do that. They actually store the unencrypted passwords in their database for anyone to look at. And if you see in the very first video, there's a database table that literally says, I love that, Hugh White. There's actually a database table that says passwords, and the password to get in their system is 123456. Oh my God, you gotta be serious, but it is. They're in their database, unencrypted password 123456. That actually will get you into their system to do audit logs. And
wow,
then
that's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy that you found that, but it's like, was there something specific that made you notice it? Or were you just kind of messing around, like, I'm gonna do this, and like, holy shit, like that, that got it to, like, what, how, like, was it just because it was unencrypted? It wasn't like the particular password. You just saw that, and it was like, oh, what made you catch that?
All the tables. There's when Voter GA got all the ballots from, they asked for record requests. They got the ballots. Some counties didn't know what they're doing. So instead of giving ballots, they just kind of copied their entire drive and gave it to us. And 4 of the counties gave a complete database of their entire Dominion database, all the audit logs, all the users, all the data. And, inside of there was some very valuable information. And I was going through all the tables, and then I opened up a user table, and it's sitting there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the database. And not only that, I kept going and looking at more tables, and there's one that actually is called Raindoll Key. And most people don't know what Raindoll is, but Raindoll is the encryption algorithm. It's a very good encryption algorithm, so at least they did a good one. But they actually put the encryption key and the vector, the salt, inside of a database table. And with that, I was like, okay, why did they put this in the database table? Went to an administrator's table, and you can see all this in my video. So if you want a detailed explanation, and just use the key, and I was able to decrypt everyone's passwords. So I'm actually able to look at everyone's passwords on not only the local level but on the state level because they didn't hash their databases. And it's just like an insanity. No one would ever do that. It's like unbelievable. It's amateur hour. Absolutely, John.
I'm going to hop in here for a little bit, and not to change too much, but a little bit of ours. Actually, I think Ghost Pines was so kind of posted. She posted 2 of our 6 election integrity points are related to machines, sort of. One is kind of what you're talking about, and actually Marilyn Marks, who I don't think could make it tonight. She advocated all paper ballots, right? And actually, I think we support that. It's not explicitly on there, but like we would agree, yeah, it needs to be all paper. Like, or at least I have no issue with it. I can't imagine it. But we advocate more for open source because I think what you did was you were like, whoa, right? You found this, and you're saying it is open source. If when I went from conversations with you, or 98% of it is, or something like that. But right. I think because of that, my point is like, yeah, this should have been caught, and these vulnerabilities should have been closed. Now, were they exploited? We don't necessarily know. But the fact that these are even there is pretty bad because these would fail a lot of audits, I would think, or pen tests.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised that it was that bad. I was like, whoa. You'd think it's like, okay, it was some employee who screwed up, and the majority of it was fine,
Right.
But
I mean, anyone that knows anything about computer systems, they literally in a database table they put their public key certificate. I actually have Dominion's public-private key certificate because they stuck it in a field called X509 data in their database. So if I could actually sign their website with this key, and I just started with this. But yeah, I got the X509 key, I got the HMAC key, I had the Rainbow Vector N key, both, and I just scratched the surface of what I could figure out here. But but you got to ask the question: why is it so open? If someone gives me a database, I wrote code already that within 30 seconds I could tell you everyone's database keys. I could tell you everyone's username. I could tell you all their rights. I could create ballots if I wanted to. I know when they create ballots, they actually do a hash on the ballots. But they didn't use their certificate to make these hashes. So if I want to go in and actually change a ballot, I could recreate their signature because they didn't use their certificate to make it. Anyone can create their certificates.
Right. So, and you're not a bad actor. You just happen to find this. But I'm telling you, you could. I mean, it sounds like you could not only testify and say, here's, this didn't happen. Here's the mistakes. You settle some of that stuff, which the media could do. Which I sometimes wonder if they keep it going just to kind of like fuel the fire.
Right.
It's also like you could obviously improve on it. Probably make your own business and service. Or replace these places. But I mean, it's crazy that that's sloppy. I actually kind of wanted to chat about another thing a little bit. You did say you also do fingerprinting. And that's one of the things we also advocate for, too, instead of signature matching, which is a nightmare because it's completely subjective and no one who does it pretty much is a signature expert.
Signature's dead. Signature's dead.
But so we advocate for thumbprints on absentee ballots, right? Like, so we would say that would be more secure. It's not perfect, but it's the cost of the same. So I'm going to put a little bit of LAA plugging in there, but back to us. I'm trying to keep this a little. I know we've already gone over our time, but if you're still good to go, I'm happy to go. We're kind of
near. I still have wine.
Well, we'll go to the end of the bottle then. So,
which bottle? Which bottle is the real question?
You're on the second bottle. Okay.
Yeah, I'm already on bottle 2.
Okay, nice. Well, let's pour one out for the group. Everyone can take a quick sip.
In vitro veritas.
I think people don't know this part about you. It wasn't until I kind of heard about you through other groups, and because I'm pretty skeptical about a lot of claims that came out about 2020. And unfortunately, a lot of the really bad stuff gets the news. I never really understand why the good stuff that's obvious gets missed because it's so. I'll be honest with you. Like if the left was making it, we'd be poking holes in it too, right? And it's like we're handing them wins, and like, why does this go viral? I kind of want to ask you a little bit on this question now. I don't know if this is your area of expertise, and if say, hey, I don't know about this, Ian, that's fine. But if I remember correctly, you're pretty adept when it comes to information about geospatial data, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, I know this is controversial, and I'm going to probably have people hate me, but have you seen the movie 2000 Mules?
I have not.
You have not? Okay. Are you familiar with at least their claims about geospatial data?
I absolutely know all their claims, and I've seen their documentation, but... Have I seen the movie? No. And why?
That's a good answer.
I don't care about the Hollywood part.
Yeah.
I am a GPS expert because I was doing some of my systems were in Afghanistan and Iraq and we would write systems for to actually track track terror. Yeah, sorry, the wine's kicking in. To track terrorists. And so every time that we'd catch a terrorist, we would actually take their fingerprints and the GPS locations, and they'd do geospatial, locations of these people as they're walking around, all this stuff. So I'm adept to it. So I was excited, terribly excited to see the 2,000 Mules data. And they were talking about releasing this data so that we could make our own maps. Because every time that they would show the map, it would just they show the final map with all the different points on it and everything. And I'm like, well, this guy looks like an Uber driver. He doesn't look like someone going from here to here to here. So I wanted to see real-time data. So just like I wrote a program that analyzes ballots, I wanted to write a program that analyzed GPS tracking data. So you, as a person, can download this program, pull up their data, and actually watch them driving from one point to another and actually see what they were seeing. And unfortunately, the TTV group didn't release their data. I was quite excited about not only plotting their data real time so that you could actually simulate what this guy was doing. Was the guy stopping at this location for a certain amount of time, or is he just passing by it? And I am a super, delivery dudes, or was he just happen to pass by this thing, or did he actually stop? Because GPS data that is publicly available isn't that accurate. It's whenever they
that's what I was curious about too. You and it's not just like one signal. It's a combination of signals that are layered together. It's not like, oh, this is the thing. You have to layer like 7 signals, and from what I understand,
you at least get 4. 7's the best. GPS uses those signals to do it, but your phone, unless you have an app that actually tracking your location, the best they can do is within like 100 meters of basically where you are, and it only does like once every 5 minutes. Unless you're on the phone. If you're on the phone, then you're constantly talking to a satellite. It's got to determine which is the best satellite or cell tower to use. And as it uses a cell tower, it can triangulate your position pretty accurately, but not down to that 1 inch that they were talking about. So it was like, well, then let me see the data. I really want to see the data before I comment on this further. Because if you show me the data, I'm going to write you an app that not only shows you them driving on a map with, a Google map with locations in real time, and you can change the clock, you can speed up, speed it down. I actually had an app written ready to do that. But until I actually see the data, I'm not going to confirm or deny anything that they did.
I'm pretty sure if it was down to an inch, Hunter Biden would be using those for photos for proof, and then you know what I'm saying? So
right.
with M&Ms, as far as okay, so pretty much, so you haven't seen the documentary, which is fair, but yeah, it just seems like, sure, it would be great to have the information, but they've never posted it.
Right.
And so from what you know of it so far, it doesn't seem like it pans out. Short of them coming through and actually delivering on it, and maybe you'd still be skeptical. But it's kind of like other stuff you're hearing, and then people look into it, you're like, oh, okay, it's just this.
Right. And in the Holy Grail of this whole thing, the Holy Grail is seeing one person at 2 different locations on the same day. Right. So a video of him dropping a ballot off at this location and dropping off a ballot at a different location. That's what you're looking for. That's the proof. Right. And I haven't seen that proof yet. I've seen people putting ballots in, but not going to multiple locations, which is what they're basically saying, is that they're going to all these different locations, dropping off ballots. Now, granted, when they wanted the video data, it wasn't available anymore. They deleted it, which they deleted most of the video after about 6 months. But until you get that video of one guy going to 2 different ballots on the same day, you're not going to convince anyone.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't. Well, I'm not, but yeah,
they just didn't have the videos. And and if we had video streams, I could certainly put that into my little application so that when someone neared a location, I could switch to that video or that
Right.
timestamp, and so you could actually see that person driving up. But that data is not available.
But they didn't have it in most states. Like Wisconsin only had one township, and I think which pretty much throughout that state. In Arizona, like to their credit, they did say this quality of footage is bad or it's behind a tree or whatever. So I mean, I guess the thing they did is good enough to bring attention to those issues. But yeah, that's a video thing. That's not a cell phone thing.
Right.
Okay, and I'm not going to try and beat up on them, but I was just kind of curious since you know about that.
I want to know more. I'm dying to know more. I'm excited.
I would like to find out and say, hey, I want to at least see. Maybe there is to this. But yeah, if they don't put it up, that's strange.
I was actually talking to Mike Lindell personally, and he's like, yeah, I'll get you the data. We'll get it for you. And I was down at Mar-a-Lago, and I just was never able to get it, which is unfortunate.
I know people who work with him indirectly, so if you really need that, I can see if I can get it your way. I don't know
he doesn't have the data himself.
Right.
He's just he's more the spokesman, which is nice. But
did you get pillows out of him at least?
No, unfortunately, it was that Kerry Lake thing. But he didn't have any pillows with him. But I gotta admit, one thing about him, he looks exactly the same a person as he does on TV.
Yeah.
You know how someone always looks different on TV? No, not Mike Lindell. He looks exactly the same, which is it's kind of weird to be honest.
He actually lives in the TV, from what I understand. Like he just pops out. Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, yeah, probably not good now because they're tracking all the people now and they're being rated. So I'm sure you and I are on the watch list. So we'll see you in the gulag. We'll all see you here. Speaking kind of places to live, I'm going to kind of go into this last segment that I think almost no one really knows about you unless they know you super well, and I don't know you that well. So this sounds. You not only are you quite versed, and maybe this is how you can do memes all day. Not only are you quite versed in making memes and also geospatial data and Dominion and security, you do have, you actually own quite a bit of property, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
But don't overestimate what my property is.
You own a billion house. Yeah, I mean, you own about you do. Okay, let me. I don't want to make it too big, but like you have quite. And then you talk about your family.
I own 8 houses. Yes.
Okay. Well,
but are they shitty houses? Yeah, they're pretty shitty houses.
Slumlord?
Yeah, it's a little bit above slumlord. My brother's a slumlord. I can definitely say that he has 30 houses. He followed my plan. He has 30 homes, but he is the definition of slumlord.
Oh, that sucks.
My homes. Well, the key is. And it's my investment my investment philosophy. I'm still surprised Dogcoin didn't let me retire. But it's go to a underrated place, and my place is southwest corner of Missouri, where my family grew up, but you can still buy houses, or you could just a few years ago, for $40,000 to $50,000. And at $40,000, it's a nice house. It's not a bad house. It's just people there just don't have money to buy houses, so it's it's a little bit depressed. But I buy these $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 homes, fix them up, make them nice, and make them livable, and then rent them out for $750 to $900 a month.
How would you recommend people who get into that, though? Because, I mean, it's kind of one of those things like, just $60K. But, I mean, as someone who's trying to get into their first home or at least their second home and start doing that, I imagine that's difficult at the beginning. And perhaps it gets easier. Did you find it was hard, or was it, not that difficult?
It was difficult to get the first couple. You have to definitely have the down payment. You have to, have to spend money on the repairs. You have to get that infrastructure set up. I have a property manager that for 10% of my money, the income, he keeps it rented. He keeps it repaired. He handles all the phone calls. I don't even know who's in my homes. I have no earthly idea who's in my homes.
Wow. You never show up with a surprise, like, hey, here you go, guys. Thanks for being loyal and no jello mold.
Not a bit. I don't want to know because, there's also EEOC laws that, you can't be discriminatory of who you rent it to. And if I don't know who the person is, I can't be discriminatory. I don't know the color. I don't know their name. So it keeps me completely in compliance with the laws. And frankly, I don't care, as long as it's rented and the house is maintained, I'm happy. for 10% of my money and think about that, at $750 a month, I'm paying guys $75 so I don't get phone calls from my tenants. So it's a pretty good deal.
That sounds like a pretty great deal. When would you say it became easier for you to like, at what point did it become easy, or is it still difficult? Like, because I think maybe myself included, you kind of hear like, oh, you can get out of the rat race and you can like run and I think, and this is probably me, but do you think this is a myth that like, oh, owning property is like this great panacea where you don't have to work and whatever, there's no work? What is that?
Work. I mean, my office chair that I'm sitting in only has one arm. And the other arm fell off 5 years ago, and the padding's all off, and it's a piece of crap I'm sitting in here. I don't make a lot of money. I don't make any money, to be honest. What I make is equity for the next house. Okay, so and so how you basically start is you find yourself an inexpensive home that needs repairs. You buy it. Maybe half of it will be a down payment, like $20,000-$30,000. Of course, I'm talking about 5-6 years ago. Unfortunately, prices have changed a bunch. Thanks, Joe. But you buy something that needs work. You don't buy something new. You find someone who's going to maintain it and fix it up just enough to be livable for someone. And as the renters rent it, you use that money, half of it, to pay off the mortgage that you got, and the other half you take no income from these. The other half to repair it to make it nicer. And so you're not only building equity, right? You're also paying off that loan. So after 3-4 years of owning a cheaper property and getting rent from it, you eventually own that home outright. And that's now your property. And so all that mortgage that's coming in, these $750 a month, $600 a month, you use that as your down payment for the next home. And so it may take 4 to 5 years to get that second home, but now you have 2 people paying your mortgage and your repairs and your rent. And so instead of it being 5 years to that next home, now it's 4 years. Okay, it's kind of like the housing compound interest philosophy. So after you own 2 homes, now it's down to 4 years. After you get 3 homes, now it's down to 3 years. Now you get 4 homes, it's now down to 2.5 years. And eventually, as you get up to like 10 homes, you get a new home per year paid for by your renters. And that's how
awesome.
You build compound interest, but you build equity compound interest.
Well, I think you dropped like kind of a shock on me, and I was like, whoa, when you told me this. Like, I think you're saying you felt like, oh, that's nothing in terms of what you have. Whereas I think a lot of people are like, wow, it kind of just, it seems so out of reach for people, because I just bought my first home before the rates went insane this year, and I'm really grateful for it, and we're trying to work on that. But didn't you say something? And didn't you say something like your uncle has like 180 or had 180 properties or something crazy high? And I was like, what? I like fell out of my chair when I read that. I mean, is that true?
That's true. That's actually where I learned this technique from.
So it's in your family. Like, this is like a thing that's been taught for generations, I guess, now.
Yeah, my uncle, which is about 10 years older than me, and he had a lot of money to start this off. Okay, I didn't have any really. And he basically taught my family how to do it. My brother, I said, is a slumlord. My brother buys $10,000 homes. Literally, $10,000 per house. These things are the biggest pieces of crap. And you'll love his technique, because his technique is quite genius. You'll love this technique. He only rents out to Section 8 people. Okay? He rents it out to the worst people he can find. He's like, yeah, if you burn my house down, go for it. I don't care. And those people move into it. And they will go into these homes. The renters will go to his $10,000 homes, trash the hell out of these places. He's had a couple of them burned down. And then he files with Section 8. Hey, these renters burned down my home. You have to build me a new one. And he gets the Section 8 Housing Authority to rebuild his house brand new, fresh, and clean. And now it's a $100,000 house. So he spends $10,000, tells people to burn it down, and then cashes in afterwards.
Man, that sounds like insurance fraud. But okay,
He's the black sheep of the family.
This is the tape that's going to be used in his trial. So sorry to Matt Libel's brother in advance. But
yeah, he's the one brother we don't talk about. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, and we're kind of wrapping this up because we went a little
Yeah.
over, but I appreciate you staying. Do you plan on retiring one day, just kind of like
No.
off the income and just doing memes all day?
Oh, hell no. Hell no. I'm stuck to
Or you
this
still gonna
chair.
do?
I got a butt print on this chair that's a mile deep. I work 2 full jobs. I meme at night. I do voter registration. I do, you know, I'm rebuilding my house. If I can't, I can't sit still for more than 5 minutes at a time. I'm ripping up all the floors of my house, putting in new walls, new doors, new bathrooms, new everything. But you did ask me a question on your thing about, you know, what do I tell first-time home buyers? And really what I want to tell them is don't buy a nice house. Buy a really bad house. Buy one that needs a lot of work. And my dad taught me this. He was, you know, he kind of lived in the 50s kind of time frame. But, you know, you think about this. If you buy a really nice house, that front door on your house cost $1,000. Okay. But when you put it on a 30-year note at 6% interest, that door is not $1,000. That door is $2,158. Okay. So it is much better for you to buy a house and you put that door in yourself. You pay $1,000 for a door that you put in yourself. That door is worth $1,000. It didn't cost you $2,158. And so learn how to work on your own homes. Learn how to repair drywall. Learn how to do plumbing. Learn how to put in your own damn flooring. You know, learn basic home care that people just forget about.
Yeah, that's something I need to work on myself. And I know I'm asking because actually I know Missy, who's on here, curious to start learning how to do this stuff. And we have channels on our server about, you know, homesteading, cooking, do it yourself, income. One of the things we really advocate at Look Ahead's Discord is instead of people, you know, bitching and moaning about how shitty the world is and how, like, you know, Biden's fucked everything over, we're trying to really say, hey, you know, this is really about you trying to better your life. That's the stuff you can control.
Right.
And when you're more stable, you can then be more powerful in your area around you. And by the way, I heard you say you work in voter registration and doing a bunch of other things. I had no idea you did that till just now, which is pretty awesome that I'm assuming you're involved in your local county.
Local county. That's right.
Yeah. That's pretty fantastic. Wow. So I don't know do you sleep at all or no?
Not very much. I go to sleep around 1 and wake up at 7.
Okay.
And yeah, I was working with Palm Beach GOP. Actually, I own palmbeachgop.org. I was working with several people there, working with that voter registration for the locals. Also on voter2020.com and a couple of other websites for voter registration. But I just don't talk about that as much because it's just not as exciting.
I think you're a fascinating person, Matt. I mean, there's so many other places we could go down here, but we've talked for almost about 90 minutes now, and I think you're probably at the end of your bottle. So you're going to be nursing,
okay. My wife is coming home, and we're going to go drink. So we're good.
Oh, nice, good. So this is just a pregame for the actual drink. Okay, so that we can erase this memory, and then your brother's like, "Wait, did I just hear what you said? I think you said on the AMA about me." Like,
oh, he's in Saudi Arabia, so he's good.
Oh shit, man. So okay, well, let me check. Missy, I have kind of keeping a little bit of an eye on the AMA questions. Do we have any questions we have maybe, you know, 5 or 6 minutes left. Are there any questions from the audience that were missed, or is that it? Or Missy, you can go ahead and either unmute yourself or just pop them in here.
No, everything's been DM'd to you. Everyone's just more like impressed with Matt Bull so far. They're really enjoying the conversation.
Oh, they wouldn't be impressed if they actually met me.
Well, so far they're impressed by what you're saying, at least.
We have not invented smell-o-vision yet. Yes, I agree.
I have a face for radio. Yeah.
Well, we actually, you know, I thought that was really cool, by the way, that you were willing to put your face out there and your real name.
You know, it's kind of scared me at first. You know, it happened with Benny Johnson. You know, Benny and Johnson are good friends now. You know, I like to think I really helped him out a lot. But, you know, Benny said, "Should I use your name?" I said, "No, that's okay." And he's having this meme awards. It was in West Palm Beach, and he wanted to give meme of the year to me, only because I was the only one that was local and could call at the last moment. So that's the only reason I won. But he was like, okay, I want to introduce to you this meme maker, and he showed all this. His name is Phillip Davis. Now, Phillip Davis is going to come down, and Phillip Davis is going to do this, and Phillip Davis is going to. He said my name like 13 freaking times. I'm like, well, screw it. I guess I'm public now.
Well,
so he
that'll
put me
do
on
it.
the air and show my face, and
Yeah.
then but I think he was doing that intentionally to kind of pull me out a little bit. And then he had me on his show twice and introduced me on his his Benny show a couple of times. And a little secret, which unfortunately got canceled, but something that most even the memers don't know, is we actually 2 days after the raid on Trump Mar-a-Lago had an interview planned for Donald Trump with Benny and me sitting with Trump to show him memes, and the whole interview was going to be Trump reacts to memes.
Oh, that would have been so cool. I would have loved to see that one.
2 days before it got canceled.
That would have been so much fun just to watch that. And memes would have come out of that too.
Oh yeah,
But,
and
man,
we had the
make a
memes
show
picked.
now.
We had the memes picked. We C3P a meme. William had one in the list. We had Trump's library on the list. And that's all it was going to be is just like you see TikTok, people watching stuff and reaction. It was a Trump reacts video. That's all it was going to be is just Trump laughing at memes.
That would be great.
For over an hour at Mar-a-Lago.
We need to make like meme magic happen so that actually comes into reality. We did it in 2016, and I think we need to have that happen again 2022 or 2024. But that would actually be really cool. And I think you're right. I think memes. Because that's definitely like a Gen Z type thing. Like I don't know if it's a lower attention thing or whatever. Just like some of them are pretty crazy. Like I think yours are a little more long form for a lot of them. Theirs are like really short, like 3 seconds. Like, whoa, that's intense. But like that's a little too much for me. I'm not there yet. But yeah, that's really cool. Okay, actually we have one I think final question, and then I think this will be it. This is from Palma Louie, who does a ton of great work in Pennsylvania. He wants to know about I know, but you may be reading it, but for our audience who is visually impaired, you ableist, do you think governments and NGOs can or will keep up with the censorship of memes? Because we saw that on November 4th of 2016, where the Google CEOs were planning and saying we can't allow an open internet. Memers killed us, and we're kind of seeing that now with now they're doing books on 2016. And were you even featured in that? I haven't read that.
I am so sad that I'm not mentioned as one of the memers.
That sucks.
I was going to get that. I was going to buy the book if they mentioned me, but mine weren't really controversial. There's a lot of controversial memes. But but 2 months before the November election. When I kind of figured out the algorithm on Twitter, and it's basically you get so many views per follower percentage. So at 6% is what it typically runs. So at 180,000 followers, at 6% per hour, I would get so many views. So I could put out a great meme or a terrible meme or just any video, and I would get 60,000 views every time. Just because that's how the algorithm on Twitter works. Right 2 months before the election, they put this throttle on us, and they knocked us from 6% down to less than 0.5%. And we tested this by saying, let's post a meme, see how it does. I'll post Petrol Warrior. I'll post something that we know, that's great. And it wouldn't get 112 views per hour, tops. And so this is that throttle that they can use to really knock our view down.
So it's almost like shadow banning, but it's more of a weird throttle.
It's a throttle, right?
Interesting.
It actually graphed the throttle over time, and no matter what any of us posted, it was always a percentage of the followers, and it was a very small percent per hour that would be able to see our views, and absolutely no red check marks ever got to see the views. And so that's their first way of censoring. They're going to do it again. Matter of fact, they've already announced that they're already kicking in the same throttle this for 2022. So that throttle's already turned back on if you haven't noticed. The second part, of course, is the fact checkers. The fact checkers coming in, and after even the silliest of memes, they're throwing a fact check on it, which once you get that fact checked, prompt up there, that severely limits your views as well. And William Ockham absolutely knows every time he posts, he gets a age verification, block on his. So it's just going to get more and more and more suppressive, to be honest. But hopefully Elon maybe will help us out. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Well, actually, that's a great segue, and that's a good way. I'm gonna close this out with that question. Mad Liberals, where can we find your work outside of Discord? Although people do want you to, because they're gonna want to say, "Hey, check my meme," make me famous, retweet it or whatever. But yeah, I know you're a busy man, but where do we find your work? Are you on Twitter still, or are you on?
It's not my official account. I had like 160,000 before I got banned. But I am still on Twitter. But am I posting memes? Not at the moment, because November 2022 elections are coming up, and I do expect to be very busy with ballot analysis. We started this whole thing out. It was about 5 of us that started this. Soul Memes, Carpe, Something Wicked, and a couple others. And it's grown so big. I almost feel like I can back away from influencing people through memes. Let everyone else has picked up the baton. William Grifanzor, C3P meme. Everyone's been so fantastic. I don't feel like I have to meme anymore as much, because they have it handled for me, to be honest. So nice. I'm switching more to ballot analysis. I got lots of algorithms, lots of code, and I'm going to focus on that instead.
So distracting with comedy, and in the background you're doing the real work. So right. I got it. But let me ask you, even if you do post, some of the work up with, such as, I don't know, Dominion or any other, closed source work, or any, ballot stuff, that's the stuff I find fascinating. I love memes too, but I like both, and that's why I find like you're such an interesting person and investing. You kind of pretty much are the trifecta. I'd like to join your wine cult, and I'd like to know where I could follow you. Twitter, Gab, Facebook, Instagram. Yeah. Are you on?
Mad Liberals on Twitter. And just simply Mad on Truth.
Okay, so Twitter and on Truth. So Mad on Truth, at Mad on Truth.
Right.
And Mad Liberals on Twitter. Are you any other places like Gab, Getter, Minds, Parler, everything else?
I was on Getter. I was on Parler for a while, both with verified accounts. They were very nice to give me verified accounts. But I'm frankly not putting enough content to really to have people follow me at the moment.
Post nudes.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, post nudes. I always tell people, if I ever make a new account, I'm going to have tits in my avatar. Tits or a kitty, one of the two.
Yeah, or kitty with tits. Okay. On that note, as we get new, I just want to say,
that's my new handle. I like it.
Movies are just movies usually explosions, tits, and swears, right? So I like exploding titties with swears happening.
Yeah. So I'm now at Kitty Tits on Twitter.
You heard it here first. Kitty tits, not kitty tits. You don't want to get an FBI raid happening. So hang on.
Kitty.
Yeah, people are like, what the hell? How is this conservative? How is this
point?
How is this conservative at all? So yeah.
Probably not.
On that, that's all right. So that's okay. Well, we've kind of already dropped a few F-bombs here and there, but this is I really enjoyed this conversation. Missy, also thank you for coming up here
and
handling the handling all the questions and the AMA from the audience.
You're welcome.
She's like our Vanna White. She's kind of bringing the stuff up here, and yeah, so awesome. We are making a recording of this. It should be on YouTube pretty soon. It'll also be used to blackmail you in the future.
Clearly,
and
my brother's going to jail.
Yeah. Well, no worries. Well, you can say you're blackout drunk when it happens. So, on that note, hey, everybody, thanks again for coming by. If you have not joined Look Ahead America on the volunteer list, please go to lookaheadamerica.org/volunteer. Please take a look at our site and see some of the work that we're doing. We have obviously the Discord here where we can go to just kind of have fun and talk about different subjects, but we also do real work involving elections, January 6 prisoners, and a number of other things that, we like to show the receipts. Much like Mad, we like to show our work, and you can always ask us questions, and we'll make it very transparent, and get involved. That's really the only way. So, Mad Liberals, want to say thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us tonight. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful night with your wife. Tell her we all said hello.
I sure will. Thank you very much.
Thank you again for coming by, and you're welcome anytime to come back on our server. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you very much. And if anyone needs me on your server, just at me and I'll be right there.
Okay, we'll make sure to spam you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
Have a great one.